Hi and welcome to today's edit tutorial, and Num, if you're watching this video is for you. So without further ado, let's get right into it. To start off, you're going to import a picture of your OC into Abyss Paint X and create a second layer. Set this layer to either overlay or soft light. Now for this OC I chose to use overlay, and you'll see why later. Next, you're going to select the magic wand tool and select all of the hair. Next, select a brush and set the color to white, and draw lines across the OC's hair like shown. You'll do this with multiple colors, going lightest to darkest. Usually, I use shades of gray, but with some characters it is best to use colors that match the hair for better shading, like I do in a second with this dark brown. Once you've colored all of the hair, it's time to move on to the next step. Now we'll take out the smudge tool and set the brush type to hair. Unfortunately, you will have to watch an ad to use this brush, but it will be worth it in the end. Use this tool to blend the shading, and make sure that your strokes go in line with the way that hair would naturally fall on your character. This will make your finished product look much more realistic. Now that we're done shading, I'll change the layer to soft light so you can see the difference. As you can see, soft light gives a more washed out look, while overlay has a more vibrant look, which is why I chose it for this OC. Honestly though, this part is purely personal preference. Next, we're going to create a new layer and set it to add. This layer is for hair highlights. Instead of using a pure white for highlights, I like to use a lighter version of the character's hair color. This way it looks a little more realistic when you're done. Take the color of your choice and draw the lines for highlights, and then smudge it with the hairbrush. Just like with the shading, try to go in the direction that the hair flows in. Even when not using pure white, the color is still sometimes too bright, so you may want to turn down the opacity of the layer. After this, clear the selection layer. You won't need it in this next part. Now you're going to add a new layer and set it to normal. For this part, I like to turn off the other two layers as well. It helps me see what I'm doing more. Now you're going to select your OC's hair color, which you'll use to draw some stray hairs. Sometimes I skip this part, but it does add an extra element, so I included it in this video. You're going to change your pen to the soft dip pen and turn the stabilizer up to full. Just draw the loose hairs wherever you feel like it. It usually takes me a few tries to get them where I want them, so I'm going to skip through a lot of this part. Once you're done, change the color to white and make the brush smaller. Now you'll go over all of the little hairs that you just put in, as well as adding highlights. My character also has this little black line at the top of her front hair, which I'm going to cover up using her hair color. Then I will also go over it with the same white highlight. I will also blur this area, just not too much. And now the hair is finally done, so you can turn the other layers back on. And now we're just going to create a new one for the clothes. Set the clothes layer to overlay. It's time to go in with the magic wand tool once again, so select all of the clothes and then change your brush to black, and do shading all along one side of the character. For this, I'm doing it on the left side. After this, you'll change your brush color again, either to white or to a lighter color of the clothes. Then you'll go on and shade the other side of the character. Now all that's left is the blur. Simple, right? Next for the skin, which can be done in the same layer as the clothes. Just clear the selection and select all of the skin instead. For the legs and arms, just go in with black and shade along the same lines as you did for the clothes. I also like to shade under the thumbs and on the neck under the chin. For the face, instead of having the left side in shadow like I did for the rest of the OC, I like to shade the right side instead. For me, this gives the effect of shadows from the hair. Afterwards, just go in with the usual blur and clear the selection. Last, but certainly not least, the eyes. Normally I will remove the pupils on my OCs before taking a photo for an edit to make this part easier. Simply select the iris, then change back to the first layer and select your character's eye color. Color the whole eye over with that color. Afterwards, take some black and shade the top of the eye, then draw in a pupil. Blur the eye a little before changing back to the overlay layer. From here, shade the tops of the eye and around the pupils with black. Normally this shading will line up with how the eye was already shaded in Gacha Club. Blur this, then create a new layer and set it to add. For these highlights, I like to pick a color lighter than the eye and slightly more vibrant. Then just go in with a little circle at the bottom. Blur, then repeat with a slightly lighter color. Sometimes, for a little extra pop, I will also use the glitter dot pen. You do have to watch a short ad to use this. Select the pen, then sparkle some dots in the bottoms of the eye with a vibrant color. This pen can be a little tricky to work with, so it may take a couple tries before you get the look you want. When you finish, you may want to blur it, but only slightly. Then switch back to the soft dip pen with the stabilization still on. I like to draw little cross-shaped highlights on the right side of the pupil. After this, I sometimes add a little X in the bottom left corner. With that, you can clear the selection and your OC is done. I hope you enjoyed this edit tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like and comment, and subscribe for more content. I'll see you in the next video.